The ever delicious, a little bit sour and spicy kimchi. It's so easy to make. How it takes a few ingredients and a little bit of time. Let's make it. Oh, Florida weather. You made my Chinese cabbage bolt before you got a nice head inside. We'll make kimchi anyway. We're dangerously low on kimchi and it's time to make some. I got all the ingredients lined out. There are some things I substitute. I don't use ever fish sauce. It's just something I never have. That's the gochugaru. Here it is. So I use bonito flakes. And also some recipes call for pear. And I use pear sauce. This is unsweetened. That's my little hack. It works pretty good. I also don't have spring onions, the green onions, but I do have garlic chives. And one important thing, this is the ginger, and I freeze this because it grates so much better. And here is mine, the one I just harvested. That sadly went to bolt. And then this big bok choy right here I bought. And we need the daikon radish. This is massive. Obviously, I will not use the whole thing, just part of it. Okay, so first order of operation is to chop up the cabbage. Of course, if you have real Napa cabbage, this is real Napa, it just doesn't make nice. You just halve the whole cabbage and go from there. But I had to wash the whole thing, take it apart first and then wash it because the roly-polies make themselves comfortable inside. And I used the leafy part too on this, even though it's not very pretty. But hey, it ferments down and it'll be just fine. So I'm gonna chop all of this in about pieces like this. And then they go in a big bowl. So it's all chopped up and now I put a really good amount of salt on it. There is no precise measure for this. You just want to make sure it's really salted good because afterwards we're gonna wash it off anyway. And then this has to be massaged in. And it needs to sit for, I say, at least 30 minutes. We want this to break down a little and so the juices run out. While the cabbage is resting, it's time for the rest of the stuff. This is the ginger. Ginger is all done. Radish is next. Because this is homegrown, I'm not peeling it. I just washed it really, really good. But some of these bacteria will actually help with the fermentation. And I like to put this in kind of thicker pieces like that. So it adds some texture because we just eat this out of the jar or make kimchi pancakes with it. That's what we use it mostly for. Daikon done. Now carrots. My carrots in the yard aren't big enough yet to use for this and probably would prefer eating them fresh anyway. So these are store-bought and these guys I will peel and I'll just make them this kind of matchstick size. I don't have to squeeze garlic today. I still have, I freeze it flat like this. This is just chopped in the food processor. It's thicker than if it's squeezed through the garlic squeezer. But it's so convenient. Garlic chive. Of course the spring onion that I usually use would be nicer, but I don't have them. So this is a little bit tougher than spring onion. That's why I don't make it too long. There's still some flowers left from a sushi plate I made. This is daikon radish. We'll donate this for the pile too. And these carrots because they're already thin. The rest will have to be eaten. About 50 minutes sitting in salt. See, it has become a whole lot smaller already. I'll just turn this around one more time and then let it sit for another 15 or 20 or 30. So it's been a little over 30 minutes and it looks good. Now, see, these sizes are kind of bite-sized, but the greenery I always make bigger because it just shrivels so much and then you still have some substance and not just green mush. Now I would be ready to rinse this, but I just got under a tornado warning, and I'd rather not have the water running because there is lots of lightning out there. And lots of rain. Storm has passed, it's back to business. I transfer this, there's already a lot of juice that comes out, and I'll just take the time to rinse this really well. You won't get all the salt out of it, and that's good because we need some for the fermentation to contain the bacteria, but most of it. Here it is, nicely rinsed. It did retain some salt, so I'll put the mixture in of the vegetables. And then it usually calls for an Asian pear. Well, I don't even know if our stores have that, so I just put about the amount of an Asian pear in there. It gives it a little bit of sweet hint. And then the gochugaru, that is the Korean pepper. It's pepper flakes, but it's kind of really fine. And it takes a lot of it. But then I will try it because this particular one isn't very, I had to break it up a little. It's not very hot, and I'll just adjust this to taste. Because I don't have fish sauce, I use the bonito flakes. This is just smoked shaved fish flakes. And I think it actually makes it even better than any regular fish sauce. I don't put a whole lot on it in it. I don't want it to overpower. This is good stuff. All mixed. It looks really nice and it smells good, mostly because of the ginger in it. I'll put this in a half-gallon jar. And what I do when it's kind of half full, I can actually fit my hand in it. And then I'll pack it down. That'll get the juices out right there. I do that until it's full. And then I set it up for fermentation. And I'll show you the progress on how quickly this ferments. It's filled up to approximately the neck where it starts rounding. And at this point, it's like any other ferment. I put a weight in, a glass weight, so it stays submerged when the juices come up. If you don't have a glass weight, it's no problem. Then just every day press it down a little bit. And then I also have a fermentation lid. This is a silicone lid that has a hole in it to release the gases. If you don't have any of these, you can use a regular lid. You just have to let it burp, open it up a couple times every day because it will build up pressure inside and you don't want this to blow up. Packed away in the darkest corner of the kitchen. The camera makes it look lighter than it is. And I always put my ferments in a dish because once this gets happy, it's quite possible that it will overflow, and that just reduces the mess a lot. This looks so delicious already. So we're at day 2, the end of day 2, and the inevitable has happened. There are the spills. This is fermenting away quite happily. Whoop, that just came to drop out. I knew I had too much in it, so I'm going to take a little bit out because what happens is the metal bands get corroded and then it imparts a taste. So fill it less than I showed you earlier, and then we'll check in again in another couple days. Day 3, and it's going crazy. Let me see if I can see the bubbles. Of course, it warmed up a little in the kitchen too. At this point, I'll stick it in the refrigerator and it's going to stay there for another week or 2. The coolness will slow down the fermentation a little. It's already a tad sour, but to make it taste best, I like it more on the sour side. So off in the fridge it goes, and we're done with kimchi. I'll show you what it looks like when it comes out. Here we go. It's been ripening in the fridge for maybe 2 weeks, and it looks delicious. Now if I take it out and let it sit on the counter, it still bubbles a little, but the refrigerator slows down the fermentation and it just makes it so good. Let me see if I can find one here. There's a nice big piece of bok choy. Let me try. It has the sourness, just ever so slightly, but it is sour. The flavor is delicious with the ginger and everything else. It's so good. Thanks for watching.